Hey there, you're listening to the Group X podcast with Tony Zanato. Today I'm talking with John Field, owner of AGOGA. We chat about how John got into fitness, the 1994 Fitness Championships, our days at Fitness First together, buying AGOGA, COVID pivoting, membership options, and all things Group X. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming on board and having a chat with me. I greatly appreciate it.
That's fine, mate. When I saw the title Group X, I was well into this.
No. Group X, not Group Sex. Group X.
You're fucking kidding. Well, that's just pissed off my Friday night.
Yeah, so you're not going to be tagging me in any recordings now, eh? That's it. It's just no social media posts for you.
All right, we'll just have a chat, but I'll say off the bat, it's a bit of a letdown. All right, okay, carry on.
Oh, gold. I hadn't thought of that, but you know what? You've done well. You have done well.
Yeah. You had me on the hook. I was in.
Yeah. Now, mate, I know a little bit about your background prior to fitness, but fill me in. Where did you come from prior to walking into the gym before you started doing PT and training?
I did 14 years of my time in the alcohol industry. So I worked behind the bar. That's where it all started.
Yep. Actually,
if we take a very, very small step back from that, it actually all started as an aerobics instructor back before personal trainers were a thing. And that happened in a place called Harper's Fitness in Melbourne, way back when.
No way.
So I was an aerobics instructor doing step Reebok. My best class was 9:30 Wednesday mornings with a whole heap of mums because I was, 22 years old or something, 23. Hot pants and a little microphone around the head. So
you're not taking the piss, eh? You're dead set serious.
I'm legit. Yeah, this is where it started. This is where it began. So that's where I sort of cut my teeth on in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
And in that time there was I did a couple of things back then in the fitness industry, but one of them was getting into the Australian Aerobics Championships. That was in '94, and competed in that. And right at the time that the competition was on, I was also offered. I was doing a part-time job behind a bar, and I was offered a position as the bar manager. And I remember ringing my dad and saying, "Look, what do I do? I'm really enjoying the whole aerobics side of my life, it's a pretty cool job behind the bar, and I'm loving catching up with my mates there and whatnot."
Yeah.
And they've offered me a job as a manager. And Dad said, "Well, if you hurt yourself, then that's kind of your job as a fitness instructor, as like taking classes. But if you roll your ankle or something, you can still pour a beer." And I thought, well, that makes sense. So I left I did the championships. I competed. And then after that, I kind of put it all to the side and then went into working behind the bar, and that was it. That literally took me overseas. I was 5 years in London, opening up restaurants. So I was 14 years in total. And then I left. I came back home to Australia in 2000. I was 5 years with Diageo as a sales rep for the most part, and then I was a brand ambassador for Bacardi for a couple of years, and then I was the national training manager for Red Bull, and that got me from Melbourne to Sydney, and then that was a contract role. And then after that finished, and there was nothing really. I was sort of here. They paid my way to get to Sydney, and it was always my goal to get to Sydney. I don't know why, mates here and whatnot. But I thought, right, well, I'm here now, so let's go back to school. Because personal training was a bit of a thing, and I thought, I believed in Diageo's products. I loved their brand. I loved their portfolio. I loved Bacardi's portfolio, and I love Red Bull's portfolio. And I thought, well, if I can create something for myself, that would be my portfolio. How well could I sell that? And I thought back to my fitness days when PTs weren't a thing. Could I create something around that and actually be the brand myself? And so I kind of answered my own question. So I thought, right, let's go and get the accreditation. So Cert 3, Cert 4. And that's when I think you and I met, and I went to Fitness First in North Sydney, and that was how it all began.
No way. Just go back to the 1994 for a second. Take me back there. Take me back there. That I had no idea about that. I thought I knew the alcohol side of your life, but I didn't know that back in 1994 that
Yep.
you were in the part of the aerobic.
Yes, I competed.
Give
Yes,
me a
yes, I
little
did.
bit more detail on that, because and I'm not going to spend a hell of a lot of time on it, but I want a little bit more.
I feel that this has less to do with the podcast and more to do with that personal gratification. I think it's pretty sure. Yeah, it was 18th May, 1994. I remember it well. I can't remember the location, but it was in Melbourne. Yeah, so but I didn't do very well. Like I competed. There was another guy. His name was Alonso. I can't remember his last name, but he was very, very mobile. He could do the splits and everything. And then I had the upper body strength, but I wasn't very mobile. So we both went in with our strengths and our weaknesses. We both competed. We both finished roughly the same. Both of us didn't do very well, but we competed and we, got on stage and whatnot. So I'll give you the visual because it's you. There was a one-piece electric blue and black little hot pants backless number that showed off the back and the calves, and it was to the song Alice. Alice, who the fuck is Alice?
Oh, gold, mate! That is brilliant.
So that was the song. I've still got it somewhere in a box downstairs in the shed somewhere on cassette. It was a 3 or a 3.5 minute a routine. Yeah, so it was good. It was good fun. So the thing that I remember most. Go on.
I need to ask: is there video evidence of this anywhere lying around?
Well, I say this with sadness and happiness at the same time. My mum's going through quite a bit of dementia right now, and so she's got it, but she also has no idea that she's got it. So, yep. It's safely tucked away in her mental safe in Adelaide. So Belinda has been my other half. She's been searching for it for my upcoming 50th.
Beautiful.
But I'm pretty confident that she has not yet found anything. I'm pretty confident anyway.
Yeah. I need to chat to her offline after.
You go right ahead. I
have a lot of friends in Adelaide, and we're going to go hunting, and we are going to find this, and we will bring it out. And I just, for no other reason apart from I need to lay my eyes on this and go, you know what? Well done, more than anything. Well done. I had no idea, and proud of you for getting up there and smashing that. And mate, that's perfect. You've made my night. You have made my night. That's just made me smile and go, wow.
Well, I'm glad I was able to make your night. Yeah, so that was a big step, and it pretty much finished after that. So I made the call to get into the alcohol industry straight after that. But it was funny actually when I was training for it. I remember working behind the bar. There'd be like 5 o'clock. It was happy hour, and we had a lot of tradies come in at 5 o'clock. So there's me. You picture me at, I don't know, 23, 20, whatever age I was at 1994, 24 maybe.
Yep.
And the chefs in the restaurant that I was working at looked after me. They looked after my diet. So they were pretty particular with what I ate. And initially when I told the regulars, who were rough as guts, that I was doing this competition, they took the piss out of me. But eventually they warmed to the idea, so much so that if someone new came to the bar at happy hour and found out that I was doing what I was doing and had a go at me, there were people there with no teeth, covered in shit from working as a stumper for the day or a plumber. They would just fucking go at them. it was
love it.
You leave him alone.
He's ours, right? He's part of ours. He's part of us.
That was hilarious. I remember that. I remember the support I had from blokes that just, they were Collingwood supporters. They were.
Oh, mate, that is awesome.
It was good.
That is awesome.
Good times.
Yeah. And then when we met, when was that? 2008,
I did the course. So 2009, I reckon, or late 2008, 2009, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So that's when I joined Elizabeth Plaza Fitness First.
Yeah, I'd started in 2003.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Goodness me.
Yeah, look at us now, eh?
It feels seriously, I was going to say like a decade ago. Well, duh. It feels such a long time ago that I walked into Fitness First, and that my whole life changed, and that experience back then is just
Yeah, same. It was look. I look back on those moments, like meeting you and half a dozen others, and I am incredibly grateful for those moments. There's I wouldn't be where I am now had I not gone through that process. And
100%.
for all you can say, and I say a lot about Fitness First, and I am eternally grateful for having gone through that process to be where I am now, to know what I know, to I don't know, to do what I do in the way that I do it, and to avoid certain things in the way that maybe they do it.
Look, I agree with you on that. There was a level of learning that you go through doing the Cert 3 and doing the Cert 4, and then when coming on board to Fitness First. Now, whether it was right or wrong, it still, to me, was the foundations of everything. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be doing this.
So true. Yeah.
If I hadn't gone through, my, what was it? 2003, and I left in 2012, so 8-9 years of doing that, to then move on to Les Mills and then move on to Body Bike and be doing the podcast stuff I'm doing now. I wouldn't have met everybody along the way and have those experiences that I had back then. And yes, it's in my late 20s, early 30s, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, I was making a lot of cash, and it was cash. But it was learning, and it were experiences of dealing with different people and different people from all aspects. I remember some clients being CEOs, down to some clients being students, to some of them being teachers. Each person that I dealt with, you had to learn a different set of skills to communicate with that person, even though you knew what you were going to be training with them and how you were going to be training them. That interaction that you had with them was unique to every single person.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It taught you some life skills on how to deal with different personality types, for sure.
Yeah. And yes, I'll agree with you. There were some some systems in place there that probably need a good shake-up.
Yeah.
Who knows if they have now? I don't know. But with certain managers in place there were a few challenges set to us that I believe a lot of things could have been dealt with very differently.
There were so many things about it that I loved. The thing that really got me was that I really hoped, and I always hoped this, that they would raise to the standards that I wanted to keep. And it just never felt that it got that way. And when you say that out loud, you realize that it's, it's not for you. Like, you've reached a point, where you're like, all right, I want to start setting some standards for myself in my own little backyard.
Yes.
And if you're not, at that point, the only frustration then is like, shit, I don't have a backyard. I got to go find a backyard.
Yes.
So you have, and now I have, and now I'm quite content in what I'm doing, because I know that the standards I'm setting that's exactly what I want to set for myself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How long did you stay with Fitness First for in total? How long were you over there?
8 years.
Okay.
Close to you. 8 years.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, it seems to be a lot of people that I've spoken to that were there, and I met during my time there. Around the 8-year period is when people were like, okay, moving on now. And it was, I don't know whether you call it the 8-year itch or whatever, but I think a lot of people.
It's probably the 5-year itch, but I just prolonged it for 3.
Yes. I will. Yes, I agree with that. There were days, and needing to go, oh, what am I doing? Okay,
Shit, is it December already? Fuck. All right, okay, I'll do another year. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I getcha.
And at the end of your 8 years, where did you go and what did you do? And how did the opportunity come up? 3 questions rolled into one.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So, so I'd moved in. Obviously, I'd moved in with my now wife, Belinda, and that's in Bondi. So, I was living in North Sydney. Met Belinda. She was living in Bondi, and we eventually moved in together. So, I moved in with her in Bondi. Yep. So, for I reckon 2 years, maybe 3 years, I was doing the commute over the bridge, and it's all good and well. But we were talking heavily about what's next and what, where I wanted to take my business and whatnot. And I remember a couple of times where I was working myself to the absolute bone. I had a knack for bringing clients on to build money, but then I thought, fuck, where is this actually taking me? Do I need to continue to work at this level to continue to make this sort of money to make something of myself, because this is not sustainable for a guy who was my age at the time to do this for another 10, 15 years. And it was really starting to bug me. And as it happened, I knew, so I'm now living in Bondi at this stage.
Yep.
And Belinda was, I put her in touch with a PT on obviously our side of the bridge in Bondi, who was working at AGOGA. And so Belinda had been at AGOGA for, I reckon, 18 months, 2 years, thereabouts, with this PT. Yep. So at that time, AGOGA was doing group classes, which is what it's known for, but they also allowed personal training to happen in and around group classes.
Okay.
And so Belinda was one of those people. She was a client for one of the coaches. Anyway, so I knew the trainers there, but Belinda knew them intimately because she was there every day, or sorry, twice a week, I should say.
Yep.
Anyway, they eventually posted on Insta, or I don't know, some form of platform, that they were looking for a coach to join them to, add to their repertoire of coaches. And Belinda said, maybe this is for you. Maybe, it's close to our house. It means you don't have to commute over the bridge. And so I thought, well, yeah, maybe you're right. So, and you know them. And so I went over and I spoke to the general manager there at the time. Yep. And he said, look, I appreciate you coming over, but this is more of a junior burger post. This is someone we want to train up. It's not really for you. You're a bit overqualified.
Yeah.
And I said, well, Belinda and I actually are looking to invest. We love what the brand represents, so we'd like to invest in a second location. So I'd like to come in with that sort of lens. And so Nick, who was the general manager, he took it to Libby and JB, who are the owners.
Yep.
And then they came back and said, actually, that's not that's not what we were looking for, but that's not a bad idea. Let's have a chat. So I came in under that guise. Brilliant. So we created a role for myself, or they created a role for me. And for, I reckon, a year, it was better part of a year, I was permanent part-time and everything was rocking and it was looking good, and we were looking for that second location. And then we got to a point where we thought, it's going to happen. So I'm ready to go. And then one thing led to another, and the owners, or JB and Libby, had their first child. Nick, who was the general manager, he had his first child with his wife. And so he was a lawyer. He decided to go back to law.
Yep.
And Libby and JB sat myself and Belinda down and said, look, we know how much you guys want a second location. We know how much you love the place. We've already got another business. They actually had two other businesses. They've just had their baby girl. So they said, would you like to buy it off of us? And so Belinda and I took a moment and said, well, we didn't expect this. Yeah. And then JB said, what's your fear? What's your greatest fear? And I said, well, everyone leaves because it's Libby's place. Everyone comes for Libby.
Yeah. And
he said, well, let's assume that's not going to happen. There'll be a bit of chaos and maybe some people will leave, but not everyone's going to leave. What's your next fear? And so we worked through the whole process of fear and whatnot.
That's brilliant.
And we quickly realized my biggest fear of the whole thing was, if we didn't say yes to this, someone else was going to, and then they were going to turn it into something else.
Yep.
And as soon as I realized that was my biggest fear, we knew what we had to do.
Yeah.
So we said 100%, we will overcome anything that comes our way. And that, that we didn't realize how big a statement that turned out to be, with COVID closing for 12 weeks last year and all sorts of stuff, owning it for the first year. But it's ended up being an absolute godsend. It's been almost 2 years now since we've had it. So that's how we ended up with it.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That I love that. It was right time, right place, right people. Yeah. I love I enjoy the fact that you sat down and you thought about it properly. You weren't someone that just went, yeah, I've got a passion, let's go do this. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. Yeah, cool. You sat down and you looked at it properly and you weighed up your pros and your cons. And the fact that you looked at what your fears were before going into that whole.
Well, in terms of risk adverse, it was the least risk adverse business we could ever purchase, because I knew the systems, we knew the clientele, Rightly or wrongly, because like I said, if we lost the general manager and we lost the previous owner, there was going to be some chaos. And yes, there was some movement with the clients that were there. Yes. But if I turned it into what I wanted to turn it into, and we were able to grow it from that, then we were onto a good thing, and we've managed to do that. So we're pretty happy with the direction that we're heading.
Well done, mate. Well done.
So it's been good.
Yeah. Hey, COVID. Can we talk about that for a sec?
Well, why not? It's upon us. Why not? It seems to be topical, so why not?
Yeah. Look, I don't think it's going anywhere in a hurry, is it?
No, not really.
So you before COVID closed clubs down last year, before restrictions came in and you were shut, how long had you been in operation for, as you being the owners and managers of the centre?
Sure. We bought it in October, November, December, January, February. So March 23rd was when we closed. So we had it for 5.5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And closed the doors. Yeah, it was a rude awakening. I know March 23rd because one of our coaches, or our main coach, her birthday is March 23rd. So it was a shit birthday for her.
What was the first thing that went through your head when Mr. Morrison turned around on that Sunday night or whatever it was and said, "Oh, by the way, gym shutters of tomorrow."
Well, look, it was. It wasn't as it was. It sort of was a shock, but it wasn't. Like it was. We in the weeks leading up to it, maybe it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I don't know. I can't remember back then, but there was a period where I'm sure every Australian went through to it. It was like, we understand this is going global, but it hasn't hit Australia yet. And then when it finally hit Australia, it's like, oh yeah, but it hit Australia, but it won't hit Sydney, or it won't hit Bondi, or it won't hit as close to home as we think everyone else will think it will hit. And then it did. And as the closer it got, the more you realize how real it became. So when he finally made the announcement, we were not so much numb to the announcement, but semi-prepared, I guess. I don't know. It was still a shock, but it was like, fuck, right, we got to get around this. We got to figure it out pretty quick. So first feeling was, I don't know. First feeling, I guess, for me was having a logistical brain, I guess, was right. We need to figure this out. Let's go. We need to work. We need to figure this out. Yep. So I can't remember what day March 23rd was, but we turned it around. Myself and Belinda turned it around in 48 hours. We wiped every session off the timetable. We turned every session into live streaming, and we had 35 of them. So we had 42 sessions on the timetable. We wiped all of those and then put 35 live streaming sessions on, and we tried to keep them as like for like in terms of the times of the days that you would have ordinarily been training.
Yes.
And the sessions that we were offering at those sorts of times. We kept our staff on, but we paid them half of what we could because obviously we were screwed. Yep. And we did it for 12 weeks, and we moved house in that time. We had a 2-bedroom unit. We've now moved to a 3-bedroom house, and because we could turn the 3rd bedroom, the front room, into a studio. And so that's what we now use, and that's what we will use as of next week.
Yep.
And you just do it. And look, one of the biggest things we did was over that 48 hours, I announced on our social platforms that we would give away all of our equipment. And that was anything that you could pick up and take and walk out the door. So skipping ropes, power bands, TheraBands, kettlebells, dumbbells, anything you could walk out with was on offer. You could just take one set of each. Yep. And then we ran an itinerary of everything. And there was about 48 people that came in and took stuff. And we gave them a window because we had a lot of people saying, can you just hold this for me? I'm like, no, you need to, to be fair on everyone, these are the windows. And the reason we did that was, one, we wanted to make sure people stayed active. And two, we wanted a piece of AGOGA in everyone's house.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. So that whenever we did a live streaming session, you were aware that you had our kettlebell sitting in your lounge room or your bedroom or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And a lot of people said, fucking, I'm going to worry about losing stuff. Well, I can tell you that we had a 100% return rate, which was awesome. Like down to the skipping rope where everyone was great.
Yep. No, I can understand that negative thought at first. People thinking, oh, great. But you've got to remember those people were your members.
Yeah.
Those people were people that were training with you already and trusted you and you trusted them. So there's no reason for you to think, you know what, yeah, okay, I'm going to give this to you when you're going to do a runner. Why would you?
Yeah.
They've come to you because you're going to still offer them something
that
someone else wouldn't. The guy down the road probably wouldn't. Probably sat there and gone, no one's taking any of the equipment. It's all staying here. I think that's honorable, amazing. I can't find the right word to use right now, but mate, that's brilliant. That is a way to retain your members in a shit situation.
Yeah.
But let me ask the question. And did you lose many members when it hit? When you had to close your doors, did you have many members turn around and go, mate, I need to cancel. I can't do this?
Well, we cancelled all of the memberships. As in the price that we were charging. We canned them all, and then we recreated an online membership, which was 2/3 the price of what our normal membership was. So all of our unlimited members, which is, by the way, how we judge our success or failure. So our profit and loss report are all based around our unlimited members. So anyone that buys like a 10-pack or a 20-pack, we consider that in the business, in our business, that's a nice to have.
Yes. Yep.
So correct. Yep. So everything we do is aspirational to an unlimited membership. So our unlimited memberships at that point, we canned them all, but we all informed them that you were going on to an unlimited online membership, and we told them what the price was. And we didn't have, not from memory, I don't think we had one that said, no, I'm not interested, or can it, or that, because everyone still needed to move. And the members that we had and still have and have grown to are just, they just want to get involved. They want to be a part of it. They want to move.
Yeah.
And look, the upside of that, if there was an upside of anything, is that every single studio or gym were in the same position. So it's not like they could look at us and go, well, we're not happy with this, we'll go somewhere else.
Yeah. Yes.
So they all stayed, which was good. So I don't, in answer to your question, long-winded answer, I don't remember anyone actually leaving. I think some of the casuals may have pulled away.
Yes.
Stopped, but I don't remember any unlimited member or like a lifelong member ever leaving. And I even had some people saying, don't worry about stopping my membership at the rate that we were charging them pre-COVID. They were asking to, like, that because they wanted to support us at that rate, which we couldn't in good conscience do. And he said, thanks for thinking of us, but no, we're fine.
Isn't it interesting when something like a pandemic hits, that you get both ends of the spectrum? You get those people, like you've just said, that would turn around and say to you, you know what, no, just please keep it going. We can afford it. We want to do it. We want to be able to help you out. Then you also get some others, and you're lucky you didn't experience it, but I've spoken to some clubs that have experienced it on the other end of, no, cancel it all, but I still want to be a member. I still want to do it all. If you're going to do stuff online, then I want to be part of that anyway. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. Like we are incredibly fortunate and proud of the membership base that we have.
Yeah,
it's we have a very strict no dickhead policy, and we pride that every single day we're in there. So I'm happy. We have about 250 members, and 110 of those are unlimited. The rest are a mix of pay as you go, 10-pack, 20-pack, that sort of thing. So. So the goal is focusing on the unlimiteds and making sure that is where whatever we create, they get the benefit of.
So were you allowed to record those sessions in the studio, or were you not allowed in your studio at all?
Well, that's a good question, because when we started, we thought, well, you know what, it was from memory, it was ambiguous to begin with. So. Yep. It was me. I was recording in the studio, and then I thought, if it's just me or if it's just one of my coaches, then it should be okay. Yep. But then there was, in the early doors, and I think we're talking about the first 2 or 3 weeks, there was a piece that went to print in a local paper where there's 4 or 5 cops went to a gym, then they got fined $4,000 because there was 2 people in there, then they were recording footage. And I thought, that's rubbish. Because if it's just one person in there, like, it's a bit of common sense. The idea is to have social distancing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we kept doing that for a period up until myself and Belinda moved house. And so we moved, I can't remember how deep into the 12 weeks we were, but we moved within it. And when we moved, that's when we set up the front room as the studio. So we basically closed the gym. And the only reason I went into the gym after that was just to make sure that I was cleaning the equipment. That was it. No one else was in there. So it stayed shut for quite a period of time. So yes, we did record to start with in there under the belief that if it was just one person in the recording, we'd be fine.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got your studio set up now, but over the next 2 weeks, if you need to, are you able to go into the studio to record?
Well, we don't need to now because over the next week or however long Gladys has us closed, we've set up downstairs. I'm in the office upstairs at the moment. So we're now in a 2-bedroom house. The upstairs part of the house is the AGOGA head office.
Yep.
And downstairs in the first bedroom is now Studio 1. So it's ready to go. So we have, so we have 36 sessions ready to rock from Monday. 31 of those are outdoor, maximum of 10 per group as per her request. And 5 of them are live stream. And I'll take 2 of those and one of my coaches will take 3 of them. So she'll come over, put herself in the front room. She's done it before, so she knows how the setup goes.
Right.
So that's it. And then each of the sessions are recorded. So if you happen to miss it live, you can always go back and watch a rerun.
Yep. Well,
so
your membership, obviously you've put your membership prices back to where they were. They're no longer at the reduced.
Correct. Close to, but we're not quite where we were, but we're closer to it. Yes.
Yep. I suppose, how many different membership options did you have pre-COVID to how many do you have now?
Well, what a great question. Okay, so pre-COVID was almost pre-us, right? So we're there 5 months and we're still feeling our way. Now, we had 2 times a week, 3 times a week, off-peak unlimited, peak unlimited. We had class pass. We had all sorts of stuff. There was a myriad. And we came out of COVID. And so if COVID had an upside, it gave us a chance to reset. So you could get a 5-pack, a 10-pack, a 20-pack. It was all over the shop. We were trying to be all things to all people. It was bullshit.
Yeah.
So coming out of COVID, we decided to create the ultimate client, which was the unlimited client. So the unlimited client is now one price, and that's it. Yep. It's a weekly membership, and it's unlimited.
You can come to as many classes on as many days as you want.
100%. And everything we include inside that, the unlimited gets. So we now do 10-week blocks of training, so mesocycles. So we have 5 10-week blocks throughout the course of the year. And everything we offer in that, and everything we do, and I imagine you're probably going to get to our unique selling point, is based on 5 key principles.
Yep.
Those 5 key principles, the unlimited client gets access to. So we want to aspire every person that comes in that buys a session or a 10-pack or a 20-pack, aspire them to want to become an unlimited member. That's where we get our pickup on our bottom line. That's where our profit margin sits. Rather than try and see an unlimited member as an opportunity to get more money out of them, we want that unlimited member to know that they've hit the pinnacle. Yep. And if you want to get what that person gets, you need to lift from that.
Yeah.
So there are 3 options. There's the unlimited. You can get a 10-pack, which lasts for 3 months. You can get a 20-pack, which lasts for 5 months, and that's it. Or buy a session. Yeah. That says 4 options. That's it.
And the majority of your members are?
Well, So we had pre-COVID, we had 35 people on an unlimited, and then we had a mix of people that were on 2 times a week, 3 times a week, And then what we call is the legacy, which is pre us owning the studio. The legacy was, if you were a 3 times or 2 times a week member, that I didn't realize up until I purchased the gym, the previous arrangement was I didn't attend my third of my 3 sessions last week. So can I just roll that over to this week? And the previous legacy was, yes, you can. And I'm like, well, that's kind of an unlimited membership. What's the point of having 3 times a week?
Yeah.
So I quickly put the mods on that. And again, COVID helped, because that meant that was
How do you even manage something like that?
You don't. It was like, well, it's a good question, because you can't manage that, you don't manage it. You just literally basically say, yes, of course you can. It's almost the fear of, well, if I don't say yes to this, they're going to leave us.
Yes.
And I don't want someone that's going to have a mindset like that. You are here, you're a part of this business, you're a part of the tribe, you're an unlimited member, or you're aspiring to be an unlimited member. And anyone outside of that mindset, and we're happy for you to try somewhere else.
Yeah, look somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah.
You touch very briefly on your USPs.
Yes.
Tell me about your USPs. Tell me
so
about
USP. So this has been a growing, evolving work in progress from 2020 to 2021. In fact, this year is still a work in progress.
Yeah.
I started last year building an 8-week challenge because I wanted to allow people to have an opportunity to set a benchmark and work towards raising that benchmark for themselves. And that was the basic precursor to an 8-week challenge. But then I started looking at the word challenge, and I didn't like it. I wanted it to be bigger than a challenge. I wanted it to be more grander and more pragmatic than just the word challenge. So we lost the word challenge, and it didn't happen straight away. It probably happened halfway through this year. And where are we now? At June. So about now. So about now. The first 2, and it's no longer an 8-week challenge. It's now a 10-week block, where we have, and we call them as, we're not recreating the wheel here. We're calling what the fitness industry has been calling them for friggin' ages. They're mesocycles, and a mesocycle, works to your macro cycle over the course of the full year.
Yep.
And then your microcycle is what you're doing inside your. Anyway, I'm not teaching you anything you don't already know.
Yep.
But rather than trying to reinvent the wheel, I just started looking at how you can progress your stages of training. So we thought, when anyone starts joining a gym or a studio, the first thing a studio manager or a personal trainer will ask that person, what's your goal? Now, there are many goals, but if we were to break them down, 95% of the goal is I want to lose weight, which in itself is an incorrect statement. It's I want to decrease body fat percentage, because losing weight also suggests losing muscle mass, which you don't want to do.
Yep.
So once you nail what that statement is, whatever the statement is, then you have a very clear indication of where you want to head. So all too often, joining a gym seems to be the ultimate response to losing weight. And like I said, it's already the wrong statement, but let's assume that that's what it is. People think that joining a gym is going to help them lose weight, and it's just not the case. You have to get your diet right, and you have to manage your training with your rest and recovery and making sure that your injury prevention is right, and you have to measure and evaluate what you're doing as you go. So we created the 5 key principles in AGOGA, and they are your exercise, which is the number one key principle as to why people would join a gym in the first place. But it's no more or less important than the other 4 key principles. So they're all on a pie chart, and they're all 20% of the pie chart. So the first one is exercise. The second one is measurement and evaluation, because if you don't assess what you're doing, you're just guessing. Yep. The third one is nutrition. So you have to nourish the body to be able to make it move better. Then the 4th and 5th are based around injury prevention and then rest and recovery. So what we do is every 10-week block, we focus on those 5 key principles as we build people's goals over building everyone has a training poster. So they actually write down what their goals are at the beginning of their 10-week block. And then every week they write down what their 2 or 3 key things are that they're going to focus on to help them progress from week 1 through to week 10 to achieve their goals. Now, every 10 weeks, we do what's called a personal best week. So if I can let you use your imagination here for a second. So picture a 10-week block. Week 1 is personal best week. Week 2 and 3, we do a fortnightly program. So week 2 and 3, we call that phase 1. Week 4 and 5 is phase 2. Week 6 and 7 is phase 3. And week 8 and 9 is phase 4. And then week 10 is personal best week again. So we have 4 phases every 10 weeks. So phase 1, which is week 2 and 3, is what we call our foundational strength. That's where we work on your body's limitations, engaging your central nervous system, all that sort of stuff. So you're really focusing on where your limitations are, so you learn how to grow into them, or you learn how to adapt and grow. Phase 2 from foundational strength works on functional strength. So now we're focusing on when I walk with a laptop bag over my shoulder and a valet bag on the other side, how do I make sure that my body is still in the correct posture? So we break that down using kettlebells and dumbbells and whatnot. Then phase 3 is relative strength. So now we're focusing on lifting heavy. So relative strength is focusing on your own body fat percentage. Oh, sorry, not body fat percentage, your own weight. And then phase 4 is dense strength. So it's similar to phase 3, but now dense strength, we limit your recovery. So it will be done over every minute on the minute or whatnot. So by the time you hit phase 4, you are lifting heavy, but you have very little time to recover. So it's stimulating the body in a completely different way to phase 3. And once that's done, we then go through your personal best week again to see how you've progressed through that. So it's always based around strength, but we have 4 different modalities of training. So we have a stronger session, which works on strength, which is posture, technique, breathing, time under tension. We have leaner, which is focusing on cardio endurance. We have faster, which focuses on speed, agility, and quickness. And then we've got signature session, which focuses on all 3. So it's a bit like a smorgasbord where we work on your alactic system, your aerobic system, and your anaerobic system. So there are 4 approaches to improving the body's ability to get leaner, faster, and stronger.
Can I ask? Is there's nobody else out there doing this type of training? There's no other companies, no other boutiques offering this style, what you're doing right now, is there?
Not to my knowledge. Not to this level, not to my knowledge. The closest I know of, and it's similar in its approach to the macro cycle, the mesocycle to the macro cycle is Yanni and Rad, and that's Unity Gym.
Unity.
That's as close as I've seen in terms of systemizing this process. Outside of this, the closest I've seen is a personal trainer who is good at his or her job being able to create a mesocycle for a client. And then outside of that, you'd need to go to the Australian Institute of Fitness or Australian Institute of Sport, one of the 2.
Well done.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been an evolution this year to get to what I've just described to you. It's been it's been like, and it will continue to grow. We've got 1 more mesocycle this year to go. We're still in this one. We've got 1 more to go. 1 or 2 more. I don't remember how many weeks left. But either way, 1 or 2. And so what we do is every unlimited member, so there's 110 at the moment. Every unlimited member gets their we assess their results in personal best week. So it's their percentage increase on what they are able to squat, lunge, push, pull, and rotate in their strength session. It's a percentage increase on their cardio endurance for a leaner session. So there's an assessment for a leaner session, and there's a percentage increase on their faster session as well. So their speed, agility, and quickness. So at the end of the year, they will have 6 personal best weeks over the course of 12 months. And at the end of the year, when we have a Christmas party, we'll have an improved, stronger male and female, an improved leaner male and female, and improved faster male and female. And I'm still not convinced on those 3 titles, because I don't want a leaner maybe I don't know, improve cardio endurance, but you get the idea.
Yes.
So that's how we'll end up at the end of the year. So I've taken what was a fortnight's outline of sessions, and I've tried to embellish on it and create this full year of a program outline, so people can look at it at Christmas and go, far out. This is what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah. That's
so yeah. So there's another piece to the pie here. Where it all began, this is when I joined. Where it all began was that the coaches were changing. The concept behind AGOGA was that every 2 weeks the programs changed. So there's a blackboard in the studio, and it's always a coach's responsibility to have to clean the blackboard and write down the new fortnight's programs. Every fortnight, the program changes based on a theme for that fortnight. Now, the theme usually relates to something that is topical in Australia or around the world at that time. So take the Tokyo Olympics, for example. They're coming up soon. So yes, we'll have a fortnight based around Olympics. And because of those 4 modalities of training that I've just discussed, the signature, stronger, leaner, faster, each coach will be allocated one particular type of modality of training, and they know the theme that is based for that fortnight. So what they then do is do research on something that means something to them for the Olympics. So if I was writing it on leaner, for example, I might choose Stephen Bradbury as a piss take, and say, okay, the commitment that Stephen had to his training meant that his endurance was, blah, 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 blah. And I'd actually write down, I'd do some research on Stephen Bradbury, do some research on how he trained, and then I would fold his training into that particular session for that fortnight. So that's how the evolution of the fortnightly programs was created. And that's all that AGOGA had at that time when I joined. Basically the motivation was what's coming up next Monday fortnight. And what I wanted to do was to say, I want bigger than that. I don't want to just stop at every fortnight. I want every 10 weeks. Now I want every year. That's what I wanted to grow it to.
Well, it's engaging your member as well. It's making your member actually want to be a member and be part of that and hang around.
Hell yes.
It's not just, this is just the next 8-week challenge. Yeah, okay, great. Sign up for 8 weeks. At the end of it, see ya. This is making members for life. This is people that are going to hang around. That it's your onboarding process. It's everything rolled into one, which you're engaging your member from day one.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's what I wanted, and that's what we're growing into. So we had a question you asked a little while back. What we had, the different types of memberships we had pre-COVID, we had 35 unlimited members. And then the rest were made up of bits and pieces of, all over the shop. Now we've got 110 unlimited members. And so of the people that were sitting there thinking that what they wanted was maybe 2 times a week or maybe 3 times a week or maybe a session a week or whatever, now it's just straight up. We have 110 unlimited. Our goal is 140. So we're, not far away from it. And we'll just keep plugging away until we get it. And I said, my grandiose goal is to maybe have a second location at some point in the next couple of years if COVID calms down and can allow us to make some money. I'll do another one of these, and then I'll just move up to Sunshine Coast and oversee and let the general manager run them.
Where does it come from?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So it's a Spartan term that refers to a style of athlete. So the style of training and a style of athlete. So it's someone who is strong of mind, unflinchingly loyal, and physically unmatched. So it's a legitimate phrase. And when I started at AGOGA, I, like everyone else, called it AGOGA. So your first induction into the studio was being able to pronounce it correctly.
Yes.
And
so it should be.
Yes. Yeah, correct. But then it was just it didn't say much in the gym. So one of the first things I put up, it was a stencil right across the bulkhead of one of the ends of the room, was to describe, it's basically the definition of AGOGA. So it's kind of not, it's written phonetically, so you can, you can pronounce it. And then it's got the full definition of the term. So
Nice.
it's a Spartan word that describes a class of warrior citizen. Strong of mind, unflinchingly loyal, and physically unmatched.
I like it, and it suits. It suits so well. Yeah.
Yeah. So so everything we do is based around athletes, and it's, a lot of people think, well, I'm not fit enough to train there, but the biggest education we have around our members is that when you think of an athlete, you think about the performance output, but you don't think about everything that an athlete has to incorporate into making themselves the best they can be. And that includes their level of sleep, that includes their nutrition, it includes their rest and recovery, their injury prevention, so and the way they measure their performance. So it's all of those markers, which is where our 5 key principles come from. So it's not just about,
that brings it straight back in.
So it's anything that an athlete represents, that's what we try and emulate. So it's not just about smashing yourself in a gym. That's just counterproductive to what you're trying to represent.
Yeah. Mate, if I'm ever back in Bondi, which who knows if that's going to happen anytime soon, I'm going to come and visit. I'm going to come and say, hey, mate, can this old body here that has had a hip replacement to give this a shot? Can I have a go with you guys and see if I can keep up? And mate, I'd love to.
You are more than welcome to, and as always, you would be welcomed into the studio. And the thing is, it's not about keeping up. It's about and this is the best part about my job. The best part about my job is seeing people that walk in and say, I don't know if I'm fit enough, turn that mindset around to I feel like I'm a part of AGOGA. And not that they've increased in power or speed or agility or strength. It's that they realize that what it really means to be a part of our community is to work at your own pace and see your own progression in your own time, and that you're totally accepted with everyone else in there, because everyone is so bloody welcoming. It's not funny, and I will be forever grateful for our tribe, our community. They are so bloody welcoming to anyone that walks through the front doors. They are half the reason that people stay, because I can sit there and blow up the whole concept of the idea of what AGOGA is, but it's not until someone comes in for their first session, and everyone's a little bit apprehensive when they go to a gym for the first time, but they meet someone that isn't a part of AGOGA, as in they're not a coach, they're not me, they're not my wife, they're not a coach, but they just happen to be warming up next to someone who is warming up, and they just turn to talk to them. And that is what I love about our community. Everyone makes everyone feel welcome. So the second someone walks in, everyone just starts talking to them, and it's awesome to watch. So I'm, it almost makes me feel like I'm setting them up. Like, this is, it feels like a setup, but it's not. It's just totally legit.
Mate, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for talking to me. I greatly appreciate every single second that we've had.
I've enjoyed it too. I really have. I'm a little bit disappointed that it wasn't group sex, but I'll get over that.
Well, that's it for this chat. I hope you got something out of it and liked what you heard. If you'd like to get in touch, head on over to the website groupx.com.au or throw us a like on Facebook at GroupX. May we meet again.